Good morning, class. Good morning. Welcome again to Seamanship 318, week number 3. Topic is the cargo specific information. So, continuation lang ni siya, no? And learning outcomes is interpret cargo specific information in loading and unloading cargo regarding the topics about brick bulk items, unitized cargo, iron and steel products, heavy lift items, and project cargo, roll on, roll off cargo items, livestock, timber cargoes, and underdeck, oil and fats, refrigerated cargo, and pulp and paper. So that's our topic for today. And then let's start the discussion. So, brick bulk, topic number 1, brick bulk cargo, also called general cargo, refers to goods that are stowed on board ship in individually counted units. So, traditionally, the large number of items are recorded on distinct bills of lading that list them by different commodities. This is the contrast to cargo stowed and modern intermodal containers as well as bulk cargo, which goes directly unpacked and in large quantities into a ship holds, measured by volume or weight and for instant. So, mao ni siya ang definition sa brick bulk cargos. Gikuan siya as also called a general cargo. Ga-refers siya sa goods, giisa-isa lang ni siya but daghan, no? Kanang gigagmay ba? Kanang gikuan sa mga forklift, kanang makaya ra sa forklift, kanang gipalitize nga cargo, gibalot, gi-plastic, mao na siya ay mga brick bulk cargos. So the term brick bulk derives from the phrase breaking bulk. Mura siya gibahin-bahin, no? Using the brick bulk is a verb to initiate the extraction of the portion of the ship cargo or to begin the unloading process from the ship's hold. Ships carrying brick bulk cargos are often called general cargo ships. Ang magkarga ko ng brick bulk cargos is generally called a general cargo ships. Okay? So, brick bulk general cargo consists of goods transported, stowed, and handled piecemeal. Piece. Gi-isa-isa. To some degrees, typically bundled somehow in units. Isa-isa siya, pero gi-bundle siya into a unit load. Giusa siya ba, gisod og palita, so nahog na siya usa ka unit. Mo na siya for hoisting either with cargo nets or slings or crates or stacked on tray, pallets or skids. Mo na siya pagloading, no? Ikarga ni siya og cargo nets, slings or crates or tackled on trays, pallets or skids. Furthermore, batches of break cargo's goods are frequently packed with smaller containers like bags, boxes, cartons, crates, drums, or barrels. So this is the example of the brick bulk cargo that were loaded into the cargo holds of the okay, no? So ideally, brick bulk cargos is lifted directly into out of the vessel holds and this is mostly the case today. Mao ni kasagaran karon sa mga inter-island na mga gagmay barko, mga bulk na kargahan og mga goods. Otherwise, it must be lifted into and off of this deck by cranes or derricks present on the dock or on the ships itself. Kung naay ship's crane ang barko, ang ship's crane sa barko mo ay mobira. Gwa, shore crane. Okay, no? It's hoisted on the deck rather than straight into the hold. Liftable or rollable goods, then you have a man-handled and stowed completely by stevedores. Ang stevedores may mo trabaho ano no? Kaya mao man ay trabaho sa mga stevedores nato. Ya sa pantala no. Magdiskarga o mag-loading and unloading. Securing brick bulk and general freight inside vessels includes the dunnage. Nagyo na siya ay dunnage no? Pangkalang-kalang o panghapin. Okay no? Okay. We know hoisting equipment is available. Brick bulk has traditionally been manually carried on and off ship over plank, or it might be passed from the man to man via human chain. Kung wa ko no'y hoisting equipment just like derricks or cranes, so magmano-mano, di ba? Pasa-pasa. Mao na siya sa unang panahon. Since 1960s, the volumes of brick bulk cargoes has enormous declined worldwide in favor of mass adoption of intermodal containers. So, na hinahinaya na siya og kawa since 1960s tungod sa nigawas nga katong container van bitaw katong gikarga og container ship mo na siya nakakuan sa mga brick bulk, although container is also brick bulk cargos kay individual magyapon na siya ang sud-sudan to tagsa-tagsa. Okay no? Okay. Loading and unloading. Although cargos as a sort can be delivered straight from the truck or train into a ships, the most common way is for the cargo to be delivered to the dock advance of arrival of the ship and for the cargo to be stowed in warehouse. When the ship arrives from the cargo that is then taken from the warehouse to a quay. Unsa man ning quay? Murag gyapon siya og pantalan bitaw. Kanang nasa pantalan nga space diha nga mo na quay. And then lifted on board by either ship's gear, derricks or cranes, or by the dockside cranes discharged to the ship, the reverse of the loading operation. So, maura po na siya sa loading operation. Discharging reverse na. Okay? So, loading and discharging by brick bulk is labor intensive. So, mag-discharge ka og bulk labor is labor intensive. The cargo is brought to the quay next to the ship, and then each individual items is lifted on board separately. Some of items such as sacks or bags can be loaded in batches by using slings or cargo nets, and others such as cartons can be loaded into a tray before being lifted on board. Once on board, the items must be stowed separately. So dili na siya itambak dito kuan, i-arrange na siya, i-separate na siya. No? Okay? So, before any loading takes place, any sign of the previous cargoes are removed. Kinahanglan before ka mag-loading, hinluan sa to ninyo tong budiga una. Usa mo mag-loading og lain nga cargo. This is the procedure, right? Okay, unya og naay mga dirty cargo dito, makontaminate ang inyong cargo. So, the hulls are swept, washed, necessary, and any damage to them repaired. Kung naay mga damage sa bulkheads or tank tops, ang giminin nyo is part of the ships. Itong mga hagdanan, nga daot sa pagdiskarga. So, it must be repaired before loading. So, damage is laid already for the cargo is just put and bundles ready for the stevedores to lay out as the cargo loaded. So, naka-ready na ang mga damage na gamiton nga nakabutang na dito sa ubos para ang stevedore mukuha na lang magbutang para sa kwan. There are great many kinds of break bulk cargo. Example for more common types follow below. So, next, no? Next topic. So, human na to ang atong break bulk cargo. Mo to atong break bulk, no? So, let's proceed to the next topic. Unitized cargo. So, palletized or unitized cargo means small lots of cargo which are wrapped, strapped, or packaged together into a single unit amenable to handle by forklift both on board vessel or in the warp. No? Sabot? Okay, let's proceed. So, watch this video for more information about unitized cargo. Okay, no? Mao to siya atong presentation sa unitized cargo. Okay, proceed to sa next slide. So, iron and steel products. So, iron and steel products is composed of two things, no? Iron and steel. So, let's go to iron first. Iron is a chemical element with symbol Fe from a Latin ferrum, an atomic number 26, it is a metal that belongs to the first transition series and group 8 of the periodic table. So, basics na? Periodic table. Kinsay ganahag physics na eh. Murag siguro, no? So, anyway, it is by mass the most common elements on Earth right in front of oxygen. So, 32.1% and 30.1% respectively forming of Earth's outer and inner saan siya? And fourth most common element in the Earth's crust. Okay na? Guys, naka-notice mo aning mga blue chemical elements. Pwede ni siya i-click ni mo. Ako siyang ituyo pag copy nga ni pag copy aron na ay mga maklik ninyo kung na mo internet signals makuha ninyo, no? Automatic ninyo ma-view, no? So, ay ko no ninyo sa kuha ninyo. Kaya ang kawapoy di man. Okay, now let's proceed to the next step. So, it is metallic state. Iron is rare in the Earth's crust, limited mainly to deposition by meteorites. Iron ores, by contrast, are among the most abundant in Earth's crust, although extracting usable metal from them required kilns, or furnaces, capable of reaching 1,500 degrees Celsius by 2,700 Fahrenheit or higher, about 500 degrees Celsius. Grabe ka init. Init pas impyerno, no? So, 932 degrees Fahrenheit, higher than that required to smelt copper. To ma-melt niya ang copper, no? Sa nga na kainit. Okay? Humans started to master the process of Eurasia during the 2nd millennium BCC, and the use of iron tools and weapons began to displace copper alloys. In some regions, only around 12,000 BC, no? BCE, that event is considered the transition from the Bronze Age to Iron Age in the modern world. Iron alloys such as steel, stainless steel, cast iron, and special steels are by far the most common industrial metals because of their mechanical properties and cost. There is always a cost. The iron and steel industry is thus very important economically, and iron is the cheapest metal with price of a few dollars per kilogram or per pound. Pound is the UK money. No? Na, see? You see? Ito dito. Makita na ninyo kini nga murag link, no? Okay, proceed. Ang steel na pod, ang iron to the say Pilmero, no? Ang steel is a alloy made up of iron with typically few tenths of percent of carbon to improve its strength and fracture resistance compared to the other forms of iron. So, di day pwede kung iron ratanan, why steel, no? Kay dili ligon, no? Many other elements may be presented or added. Stainless steels that are corrosion and oxidation resistant typically need an additional 11% chromium because of its high tensile strength and low cost. Steel is used to building infrastructure, tools, ships, train, cars, machines, electrical appliances, weapons, and rockets. Okay, no? So, iron is the base metal of steel. Depending on the temperature, it can take two crystalline forms, allotropic forms, body-centered cubic, and face-centered cubic. The interaction of the allotropes of iron with the alloying elements, primary carbon, gives steel and cast iron the range of unique properties. So in pure iron, the crystal structure has relatively little resistance to the iron atoms slipping fast on the others, and so pure iron is quite ductile or soft and easy form. Lambot siya, lambot, no? And still, small amounts of carbons, other elements, and inclusions within the iron act as hardening agent as to prevent movement of the dislocation. So mo na siya gamitan nimo siya og nasa ibutang gamay small amount of elements aron ma-harden siya, maggahi siya no, aron malig-on siya. Mao na siya nang kuano. This is the steel. Okay. I will show you a video.
It's important that you be knowledgeable about the gear and equipment you will use in the hold. You will need to know how and when to work with hoisting gear such as wire rope, hooks, and slings. A lifting beam called a spreader bar is used to spread 2 or more lifting slings apart. The spreader bar is usually placed in the middle of the rigging configuration, between the ship's hook and the load being lifted. Wire rope crown wires and down legs are connected to the spreader bar with the use of shackles. Hooks are connected directly to wire rope down legs or chain and connecting links. Hooks can have many different designs. Some hooks are placed into the eye of a sling. Others can be placed directly into the end of the pipe. Lifting slings can be either wire rope, synthetic, or chain. The job site supervisor will choose the most suitable type of sling for the cargo that is being lifted. Steel pipe is most commonly lifted with synthetic straps. Cargo such as beam and coil is lifted with braided chain. The braided chain is resistant to cuts and tears and will substitute for synthetic straps when working cargo with sharp corners. Slings should be inspected to ensure good working condition. A few examples of inspection criteria are: periodically check slings throughout the shift for wear and tear that could affect their capacity and require taking them out of service. Make sure synthetic slings are free of excessive tears and abrasions, and inspect chain slings for twisted or elongated links. Check wire rope for excessive broken wires. Shackle pins should remain fully screwed in place. Look for excessive wear or distortion of shackles or hooks. Always alert your supervisor of any concerns you may have with the condition of hoisting gear or slings. Remain alert to the lifting gear which will be entering the hatch on each crane cycle. Wire rope down legs, hooks, or chain can swing and potentially strike workers in the hold. Consider this example of a hold worker with his back to the lifting gear as the crane operator lowers the gear into the hatch. The flagman signals to lower the gear into the hatch, but does not alert the workers below. The braided chain is swinging and strikes the hold worker in the upper body with great force. This type of incident can result in head injuries, bruises, and fractures to any part of the body. Flaggers, hold workers, and crane operators should work together to prevent this incident. Flaggers should warn of gear entering the hold. The crane operator should do his best to limit the swing of the gear, and workers should communicate with each other when the gear is entering the hold. All lifting gear and cranes have safe working capacities. Never hook up more cargo than has been authorized by the job site supervisor. When it's time to sling and hoist a load, ensure that the eye of the synthetic or braided chain sling is securely in the bowl of the lifting hook. When slinging hook pipe or steel plate, make sure the pipe hook or plate dog is securely on the cargo intended to be lifted. Check the placement of your slings and lifting hooks. They should be at an equal distance from the center of the load, so the load will remain level when lifted. The hoist signal should only be given by a designated flagger, and only when the load is safely slung and the workers have moved to a safe distance. In this example, a worker is standing next to a load of loose pipe. As it is hoisted, the load leaves a cavity in the stow. A nearby pipe then rolls into this open space. Because the worker is standing on the rolling pipe, she loses her footing. Her ankle and lower leg are crushed between two pieces of pipe. Always take the time and effort to move away from the load before it is lifted. Be sure you are not standing near the load or any adjacent cargo as the load is being hoisted. Cargo adjacent to the load may shift or roll when the load is lifted. Stay clear of overhead loads as they are taken up and out of the hold. The gang in this scenario is discharging pre-slung loose pipe. One worker fails to get out of the danger zone. As the load is suspended, one of the synthetic straps fails. This causes the pipe to fall into the hatch. This worker is struck by the falling pipe and killed. After you hook up a load, move to a place that will be clear of danger. Consider the travel path of the load and potential fall zone when choosing a safe place to stand. Keep in mind, the danger zone of falling cargo may not be limited to the area directly under the load. Always stay out of the way and be aware as cargo is hoisted out of the hold. Let's go over some specific precautions you can take to protect yourself against hazards from working certain types of steel cargo. Pipe can either be loose or bundled. Hook, breakout, and pre-slung pipe have three distinct discharge methods. Bundled pipe is usually smaller in diameter and banded together. Pre-slung pipe is loose or bundled with existing synthetic straps in place. For pre-slung pipe, ensure both straps for each pre-slung unit are properly hooked. Inspect the visible portion of the straps for tears, abrasions, or excessive wear before hoisting. Hook pipe is typically discharged with a multi-drop spreader. When using a multi-drop spreader, make sure you connect the same pipe with the correct corresponding hooks. Incorrectly hooked pipe could scissor, resulting in an unsafe lift. If one of the pipes is hooked on one end, but not the other, the pipe can be pushed into the bulkhead or sent falling to the other side of the hold. Breakout pipe must be hoisted on one end with wire to allow for the placement of synthetic straps. Be sure to get a good bite on the load with the breakout wire. Always use a canary or chicken wire to pull the synthetic sling safely under the suspended load. In this example, a breakout wire isn't adequately placed on the end of the load before the slings are placed underneath. A worker reaches for a synthetic strap without using a chicken wire and exposes himself to injury from the suspended load. The breakout wire slips from the end of the pipe, causing the load to crush the worker's arm. Always use a canary or chicken wire to pull the sling from under the load. This keeps your head, torso, and arms out of harm's way in the event the load should unexpectedly fall because of an improperly placed breakout wire. Any type of steel pipe has the potential to roll, which can result in injuries to feet, ankles, and lower legs. In this example, the gang overworks the square of the hatch, creating inclines in the wings. These inclines create conditions that allow the pipe to roll toward the center of the hold. The worker's leg is crushed by the heavy rolling pipe. A primary way to prevent pipe from rolling is to maintain a level stow. Work the pipe tier by tier whenever possible. It's also important to scan the hatch to identify pipes that have a potential to roll and chock them with dunnage if necessary. Chain or synthetic straps may be used for hoisting steel beam and rebar. Safety precautions when handling steel beams and rebar are similar to that of handling steel pipe. Again, always use a canary hook or chicken wire to pull slings or chain from underneath a suspended load. Before discharging coil, be sure to check with your foreman before cutting any steel banding. Keep in mind that banding is under tension and can snap back on a worker if cut improperly. Position yourself to one side while keeping your face and body away from any snapback. Be especially alert when you must walk on steel coils. The rounded shape presents a unique and difficult walking surface with frequent gaps in the stow. When working steel plate and slabs, pinch point hazards are common. For example, between plate dogs and plate, your fingers are in danger if hooking up loads. Improper placement of plate dogs can expose your hands to crush injuries. Serious injuries can occur if you are caught between the plate and bulkhead. Your job on the waterfront comes with a responsibility to make good choices that will affect your own personal safety, as well as the safety of others around you. Skill and awareness are necessary to load and discharge steel cargo, and are key to you returning safely to your home and family. In this program, you have learned the importance of using your personal protective equipment and attending pre-ship safety meetings. You learned how to recognize common hazards when accessing the vessel. We describe some of the stevedoring gear that will be used and some of the precautions to take in order to work safely with steel cargo. Make a promise to yourself and your family to take hold of your safety every day you work on the waterfront.
Okay, that's it, no? It's, that's a iron and steel product, and the stevedoring works. Okay, next proceed. So next topic is the heavy lift items and projected cargo. In transportation, heavy lift refers to the handling of installation of heavy items which are indivisible and of weights generally accepted to be over 100 tons and for which heights are more than 100 meters. So these oversized items are transported from one place to another, sometimes across country borders, then lifted or installed into place. Characteristics for heavy lift goods is the absence of standardization, which required an individual transport planning. So typical cargo. Typical heavy lift cargo includes, okay, no? Generators, turbines, reactors, boilers, towers, casting heaters, presses, locomotives, boats, city lights, military personnel, and equipment. In the offshore industry, parts of oil rigs and the production platforms are also lifted. Some of these are also removed and end of installation working life. Recent notable lifts include several of unsa man ni siya yung sign ani, di ba? Greater than, less than 200 metric tons in decommission of the North, Houghton Fields and British sector. Okay, no? Proceed to sa I will show you the video about the heavy lift operation and the typical cargos.
Project cargoes present specific and sometimes difficult handling issues, particularly if ship's personnel are involved directly in the loading or discharge operation, using the vessel's cranes and lifting gear. These cargoes can be of high value, heavy, or of large dimensions. And as an added pressure, they can also be time dependent, as they're often component parts of a much larger engineering project. Any delays in delivery could jeopardize the entire project's completion schedule. But commercial pressures are not an excuse to take shortcuts in safety. If a lift was to fail, apart from the danger to life and limb, there is the certainty of severe damage to the cargo, the cranes, and the vessel itself, resulting in large insurance claims, unwanted publicity, and reputations ruined. Designed as a broad introduction to a complex subject and aimed at those new to the sector, this program looks at lifted project cargoes and how heavy lift operations using the ship's own cranes are successfully and safely undertaken. Broken into short sections and using extensive live action and computer animation, it illustrates a number of lifting environments and cargo types, along with some of the more common design features of both cranes and vessels. The program begins by looking at the preparation for handling project cargoes, describing the detailed planning that's required both ashore and on board ship to ensure lifting equipment is operated within permissible design limits, and that positive vessel stability can be maintained throughout the lifting operation. The testing, validity and examination of all cranes and associated lifting equipment forms another significant part of the preparation process. The condition of all lifting gear must always be guaranteed before any loading or discharge operation, as a single failure of a piece of equipment, even the smallest component, is enough to cause a major accident. Key to managing risks on the day of the lift include having an effective system of communications, having clearly designated roles, and having a dynamic and comprehensive risk assessment in place that takes into account both the safety of the vessel and the safety of the individual. Having established the basic principles of quayside lifts the programme moves on to look at floated cargo and lifts involving offside barges, before finally looking at how project cargoes must be stowed and safely secured to prevent damage and to maintain the safety of the vessel, especially in rough seas. The expertise of experienced personnel and the development of stringent safety procedures has helped reduce serious incidents involving heavy lifts. By introducing these procedures and explaining the issues involved to those new to heavy lifts and project cargoes, it's hoped serious incidents will be reduced in the future.
Okay, no? That is the how the project cargoes to be lifted on board the ship, no? Dili basta-basta, no? Kay pag madisgrasya, kinadak-an og problema, ha? Mga mahalon gud. Okay? Proceed ta sa atong next topic, no? So, roll on, roll off, cargo. Okay? Roro or Roro. Ships are cargo ships designed to carry wheeled cargoes such as cars, motorcycles, trucks, semi-trailer trucks, buses, trailers, and railroad cars that are driven on and off the ship on their own wheel or using platform vehicles, such as a self-propelled modular transporter. This is in contrast to the lift-on, lift-off Lolo vessel used to cranes to load and under cargo. So, ang napoy Roro, napod siya ay Lolo vessel. Ang Lolo vessel, mura gyapon ni siya og heavy lift cargo, no? Okay? Proceed sa next slide. Roller vessel have either built-in shore-based ramps or Paris slips that allows a cargo to be efficiently rolled on and off vessel and with the port. While smallest piers are operate across rivers, the other short distance often have built-in ramps. The term Roro is generally reserved for the large ocean-going vessel. These ramps and doors may be located in the astern, bow, or side of the combination thereof. So, either ang ramp nila nasa astern, nasa luyo, up, or sa bow, sa tubangan, no? Okay. Mao ni siya, no? Ang car carrier. This is the car carrier ship or Roro. Or, ano siya? Pure car carrier. Mao ni siya ang ramp na sa likod. Then, dagan na siyang kargada na. Then, naipila ka di katoy, plaster na lang na siya. Mao na siya. That's the, what we call this, pure car carrier. Next slide. So, another topic, livestock. Livestock, seagoing vessel modified or purpose-built for the transportation of live animals subjected to appropriate regulation. Live animals may be transported as part of the cargo on various classes of ships. The particular methods of transportation is more common on short seas crossing, example, ferries, and usually involves relative mass numbers of animals. Livestock carriers are those ships which specialize exclusively in the transportation of large number of animals together with their requirements for the voyage. Food, water, sawdust, beddings, medications, etc. Voyages on livestock carriage generally last from 3 days to 3 or 4 weeks. Some have lasted for months when disease outbreaks are suspected. Okay. So, main subtype of, there are two types of the livestock carrier. So, first I will let you see the open livestock carrier, in which all or most of animals' pens are installed and open decks. In theory, this provides continuous natural ventilation of the pen area and avoids reliance on mechanical ventilation system. Ventilation is the key factor in the transportation of live animals. So, ako siya kuano, mao gini siya importante, no? Ang ventilation. When animal pens become poorly ventilated, oxygen depletion and built-up toxic gases develop very rapidly. Tungod na sa ilang mga baho bitaw. Pag di na siya mo ventilate og tarong ang mga baho sa kuan, mahimo na siyang toxic gases, ma-inhale sa mga pareha ko po nagtao ng mananap, mo inhale ko na silang oxygen. So kung dili na oxygen ang ma-inhale nila, gas na, patay gina sila. Circumstances vary according to the ambient condition, but failure to ventilation system in some tropical conditions can result in asphyxiation of animals in as little as 2 or 3 hours. In practice, natural ventilation alone isn't adequate for all situations. One obvious limitation factors would be in following wind condition at sea, when there are must of the same speed as the ships, is the condition that natural airflow ventilating the animal's pens can be insufficient. So, kuan di po ning kuan no, bisan og open siya, unya ang hangin diya sa likod sa barko niya parehas sila kakusgon sa hangin sa og ang wind speed og ang speed sa barko kusgon ra. So makaepekto di po ni sa mga kargada nga livestock no. Mao may nakabutang diri ko do. When the air moves at the same speed as the ship, the condition of natural airflow ventilating animal pens can be insufficient. So dili siya sakto supply di ba? Insufficient. Kung kuha ng hangin, kung pareha ang direksyon sa hangin o pareha ang direksyon sa barko pod niya, ang speed parehas ra. So dili di pod maayo. Okay no? So mao ni siya ang open livestock carrier. Open livestock carrier ni siya. So that is the open livestock carrier. Okay, proceed ta sa closed livestock carrier, in which more or less of the animal's pens are located within the holds and internal decks of the ship. This has the advantage of providing more controlled environment in which animals under feedings and waters arranges are sheltered from adverse weather. So, however, ventilation is almost entirely dependent on the mechanical system, and construction rules require specific ventilation standards for internal spaces. So, close day ka, ang naka-advantage, dili ang mga pagkaon nimo dili kuan sa bad weather or ngana no, sa mga adverse weather, mga masyada, hangin, uwan. Pero kailangan jud ventilation dependent sa mga mechanical mga mushrooms, mga ventilations man nila sa kuan. Okay no, let's proceed to the next. So this usually stipulated the minimum numbers of air changes per hour. Regulations also required backup system and auxiliary power arrangement which they separate from the main engine. This is to ensure that the adequate ventilation, lighting, watering, and feeding in the maintained an animal in the event of fire, machinery failure in the main engine spaces. So, kinahanglan nga sakto ang lightings, tubig, feeding, of course, para dili daot ang mananap. Okay na? So, this is the closed type vessel of the livestock. Mura siya og super pere, no? So, ibig sabihin dan ang mosakay sa super pere murag mga baka. Dili tao, no? Tanawa, panganay kuwang ani oh. Panganay kuwang ani para ma-super pere or tugo, no? Na all good. Okay, ito sa next topic na to is timber carrier. This vessel are used carrying timber or logs and holds on deck. The machinery spaces and accommodations are located aft of the provide clear deck space from the cargo. Generally, they are fitted with cranes that can handle logs that weighs up to 25 tons. So, dagko kayo mga kahoy, no? Di man makag 25 tons. Bugat kayo. Okay? So, mao ni siya ang timber carrier. Kaning gihisgot og timber carrier, mga kuan na ni siya, mga ginabas na ni siya, no? Mga ginabas na ni siya nga kahoy. Akong tan-aw na ni mura ning nahaging or saging. No? Nabaw gamay o ito nga o. Mao siguro na yan design po. Okay, proceed ta sa I will show you the video and precautions to and while loading timber deck cargos. Just watch it.
So today I want to talk about precautions which should be observed prior to and during a loading timber deck cargo. So this is in series with the other videos I've made for timber ships, and I hope you watch all the videos to get a good understanding of this topic. So before loading a deck cargo on any area of the weather deck of the ship, make sure that your hatch covers and booby hatches etc. for cargo holds are secured and battened. The air pipes and vents should be effectively protected and valves to be examined to ascertain their effectiveness against any kind of entry of the water. Make sure that you remove any ice or snow accumulation on deck, because you don't want the cargo to absorb any kind of moisture or sources of water from anywhere. All deck lashings, uprights, wires, etc., to be in position and kept ready in their specific and predetermined areas. Also required for pre-loading examination of securing equipment at loading ports. So in many ports, of course, before you commence loading, and especially if you are not a specialized timber carrier, the administration of the loading port or the port state or the competent authority may come on board and inspect your ship, especially for the lashing arrangements, to ensure that you have adequate lashing arrangements to secure the cargo on the ship. The deck cargo should be stored with reference to, firstly, the safe access to crew accommodation, pilot boarding area, machinery spaces, and all other working areas on deck spaces, etc., which should be closed and secured to prevent any kind of water from entering. Where relevant, opening to access to accommodation, machinery spaces to be closed and secured to prevent water entry. Firefighting appliances, life-saving appliances, valve spindles, sounding pipes, etc. should be left accessible as well. The stove should be compact, and the stove should not interfere with navigation and necessary working or any kind of lookout or blocking the lookout from the beach. During loading, deck cargo is to be kept free of ice or snow accumulations. Upon loading completion, prior to sailing, a thorough inspection of the ship should be carried out. Make sure that you confirm the soundings to cross-check that no structural damage has occurred which has caused water ingress in any of the compartments. The cargo is to be stored athwartship as close as possible to the ship side, after considering obstructions like guardrails, bulwarks, stays, uprights, pilot boarding areas, etc., provided that any area of broken stowage at the side does not exceed 4% of the ship's breadth. The deck cargo to be loaded along the entire length of the vessel, compactly filling all wells between the accommodation. It must extend from the forecastle deck to all the way to the poop deck, and in the absence of a poop deck, must extend to the aftermost part of the last hatch. Finally, the cargo should be loaded to at least the standard height of the superstructure, and you must restrict the height of cargo to ensure visibility for maintaining a 360-degree lookout around the ship from the ship's bridge is maintained. So today I want to talk.
Okay, no? Moto siya ay precautions prior and while loading timber cargos. Okay, proceed ta
So
sa
today
Next topic na to, no? Oil and fats. Oil and fats. Fats and oils are lipids. They are important energy stored in the animals and plants. Fats are solid at room temperature whereas oils are liquids. So hibernating animals survive by using up their stores of body fats. Some plants seeds survive because they contain a stored in oil. So what are the types of fats and oils? So butter, ghee, lard, suet, goose fats, hard margarines, coconut oils, and palm oils. Oils are made from vegetables and seeds such as olive, rapeseeds, sunflowers, and soya oils. And fats spreads made from these fatty meat and processed meat produced such as sausage, bacons, salami, and canned meats. Okay, no? Ari, mo to siya ang oils and fats. This is considered also while loading. This is considered also just like the tanker vessels while loading, no, and discharging. It's considered as the petrol, just like petroleum and well, kinds of oils. So our next topic is refrigerated cargoes. A refrigerated cargoes. A reefer ship is a refrigerated cargo ship typically used to transport perishable cargoes which required temperature controlled handling such as fruits, meats, vegetables, dairy products, and similar items. So kinahanglan siya og temperature control, no? Na siya ay temperature nagi-maintain. So this is the photo or picture of the refrigerated cargo ships. Okay. So types of reefer ships may be categorized into three. So there are three types of reefer ships. Number one is side door vessel. Have watertight ports on the ship's hull. Na siya ay watertight sa ship's hull, which open into cargo holds, elevators, or ramps leading from the quay o diretso sa pantalan, serve as our loading or discharging access for the forklifts or conveyors. Inside this access port or side doors, pallets, there's another series of conveyors being the cargo to respective deck. So nasa mura siya kuan bitaw. Kabantay mo eroplano, no. Ma-open siya ang gilid na dito ra kargada pagawas gikan sa kuan. Gikan sa budiga nga ikuan og mga forklift. Okay? So this special design makes the vessel particularly well suited in inclement weather operation as the tops of the cargo holds are always closed against rain and sun. So this is the type of vessel that is suitable sa rainy weather, no? Kay dili ma-open ang hatch cover sa ibabaw, dili open, di masudlan og tubig. Dili basta no? Di parehan not like the other ships na pag muulan magdali-dali na punog sara, no? Para di masudlag uwan ang sulod, no? Okay? So, conventional vessels have traditional cargo operation with top opening hatches and cranes derricks. On such ships, when facing wet weather, the hatches needs to be closed to prevent heavy rainfall from flooding holds. Both above side these types of well suited for the handle of palletized and loose cargoes. Mao na siya ang gingon nimo, no? Na kinahanglan isira para prevent sa heavy rain para di mag-flooding ang ubos, di magdaghan og tubig aron di daot ang kargada. Mao po na siya yung purpose nga ibutang og palita para og nay tubig gamay dili gyud siya mosangyad sa what we call this cargos. Okay? So refrigerated container ships are specifically designed to carry containerized units loads where each container has its individual refrigerated unit. Rep, ang, rep, ang refrigerated container, napo ni siya ay kaugalingon nga motor, no? Napo ni siya ay motor, napo ni siya ay temperature settings. Basta na ni siya ay kaugalingon nga motor nga mubugnaw ni siya asod sa mo niya sa refrigerated container kasagman karga ni siya sa container vessel. So these containers are nearly always 20-foot equivalent units. So 20-footer, no? 20-footer units, equivalent units, often called ATU. Mo ni siya ay usa ka TU mo ni siya ay 20-foot equivalent, no? That are the size of the standard cargo container that are loaded and unloaded to container terminal and aboard container ship. Okay? So, container ang refrigerated container, so container ship ang kargahan. Alright? Okay. These ships are different from the conventional container ships in their designs, power generators, and electrical distribution equipment. They need provisions made for powering each container's cooling system because of their ease to load and unloading cargo. Many container ships are now being built or redesigned to carry refrigerated container. So, kasagaran dahil mga refrigerated na mga container na barko, i-design nila og refrigerated containers na carrier. Okay na? Siguro daghan ang demand sa refrigerated. Okay? Let's proceed to our last topic, no? This is our last topic, pulp and paper. So pulp is lignocellulosic fibrous materials prepared by chemically or mechanically separated cellulose fibers from woods, fiber crop, waste paper, and rugs. Mixed with water and other chemical or plant-based additives, pulp is the major raw materials used in paper making and industrial products of other paper products. Mao din na siya pulp, no? Mga terms sa mga chemist, lignocellulosic, cellulose fiber, no? So, application. The main application for pulp are paper and board production. So the varnish of pulp use depends on the quality of the finished paper. Important quality parameters are wood varnish, brightness, viscosity, extractives, dirt count, and strength. Chemical pulps are used for making nanocellulose. Nanosilol, no? Mao ni siya ay number 1 nga gamit sa akwan sa pulp ang wood, then varnish, brightness. Apo day siya pang sinaw, no? Okay? So specialty pulp grades have many other applications. Dissolved pulps in use in making regenerated cellulose that is used textile and cellophane production. It is also used to make cellulose derivative. Fluff pulp is used to diapers, permanent hygiene products, and non-wovens. So, kaning mga permanent hygiene, mo ni siya mga tissue, no? And non-wovens. Mga tissue ni siya. Okay, no? So, paper products. Main article, Fourdrinier machine. The Fourdrinier machine is the basic for most modern paper making, and it has been used in some variation since its conception. It accomplishes all the steps needed to transform pulp into a final paper product. So, mura pa din siya og i-mix pa, no? I-kuhan pa siya tubig, i-mix pa din, iagi sa Fourdrinier machine, then mahimo na siya ang paper products. So, this is the paper production. So, thank you for listening and watching. Uh, that is all for today. And I say that strive for progress, not for perfection. Okay, thank you and good day, class. See you next time. Bye bye.